The massive alien ship appeared suddenly in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning in 2087. It was unlike anything humans had ever built. Sleek, impossibly large, and glowing with soft blue energy that seemed to bend light around its hull. Within minutes, every defense system on the planet was activated, and emergency broadcasts interrupted regular programming worldwide. Lisa Franklin stood at the command center of Orbital Defense Station Alpha, her palms sweaty despite the climate-controlled environment. As captain of Earth's primary defensive platform, she was about to become humanity's first line of contact with an alien civilization. The weight of this responsibility made her mouth dry. "Captain, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," said her communications officer, a young man named Carl Reeves whose voice betrayed his nervousness. "They're requesting to speak with Earth's leadership." Lisa straightened her uniform jacket. "Put it through to the main screen." The alien that appeared had pale blue skin stretched over a humanoid face. 4 arms were folded in what Lisa guessed might be a formal posture. Its eyes were large, entirely black, and blinked sideways. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English, though its mouth movements didn't quite match the words. "I am Senior Commander Zach Satoril of the Keldric Empire. We come with peaceful intentions to formally recognize your civilization and establish diplomatic relations." Within hours, a delegation was assembled. Jack Miller, Earth's defense director, insisted that the meeting take place in the neutral location of the International Space Station, rather than allowing the aliens aboard Earth or requiring humans to board their vessel. Lisa was selected to join the small team of 12 representatives, including scientists, military personnel, and political leaders. As they docked with the station, she noticed the alien shuttle already attached to the opposite port. It was small compared to their main ship, but still twice the size of the human transport. The aliens waited inside, 3 representatives including Zach Satoril. Up close, Lisa could see subtle patterns on their blue skin that seemed to shift with their movements. "Welcome," said Zach Satoril with a small bow. "The Keldric Empire extends formal greetings to Earth. We have been observing your development for some time and feel you have reached an appropriate stage for official contact." Director Miller stepped forward. "We appreciate your peaceful approach. We have many questions." "As expected," the alien replied with what might have been a smile. "Let us begin with context. The Keldric Empire spans over 12,000 star systems across this quadrant of the galaxy. We maintain order, facilitate, trade and protect developing worlds through a careful classification system." Lisa noticed how the alien emphasized their size and power, a subtle reminder of the imbalance between their civilizations. Zach Satoril continued, "All species are categorized on a threat assessment scale. Primary threats are technological equals. Secondary threats have significant technological development. Minor threats possess limited off-world capabilities, and non-threats remain planet-bound." The human delegation exchanged glances as Zach Satoril unfurled a holographic display, showing countless dots representing star systems. "Earth has been classified as a minor threat. Your species has achieved limited solar system colonization but lacks both the technology and unity for meaningful interstellar travel or conflict." Lisa felt a flash of indignation, though she kept her face neutral. Humanity had worked incredibly hard to establish the Mars colonies and the Europa Research Station. They had overcome tremendous challenges and political divisions to reach beyond Earth. To have these achievements dismissed so casually stung. "This classification comes with certain restrictions but also protections," Zach Satoril explained. "You may continue development within your solar system, but expansion beyond these boundaries is prohibited until you reach secondary threat status, which typically takes centuries." "And if we disagree with these restrictions?" asked Miller, his voice carefully controlled. The alien's expression didn't change, but the atmosphere in the room chilled noticeably. "The classification system is non-negotiable. It has maintained peace across our territories for over 30,000 years." Zach Satoril gestured to the hologram where several red dots appeared. "Species that have rejected these terms have historically required correction." The implied threat needed no elaboration. Over the next several hours, the delegation learned more about the Empire, The Keldricks would establish an observation outpost on Neptune's moon Triton. They would send occasional diplomatic vessels but otherwise leave Earth mostly alone. You are, by our standards, an unremarkable technological, adolescent species, Zax Terrell explained with what seemed like genuine kindness. This is not an insult. All spacefaring races pass through this stage. Your classification actually benefits you, allowing development without the burden of imperial obligations. After the Keldricks departed the station, the human delegation gathered in the conference room. "They're treating us like children," said Linda Green, one of the senior scientists, her frustration evident. Lisa nodded. "Children they don't expect much from." Director Miller paced the small room. "We should be relieved. They could have demanded much more control. Instead, they're basically ignoring us as unimportant." "It's both insulting and fortunate," said President Elijah Grant, who had joined remotely from Earth. "We maintain our autonomy within the solar system. Meanwhile, we can study their technology from a distance." Within days, the Keldrick mothership departed, leaving behind only a small vessel that traveled to Triton. Construction of their outpost began immediately, using technology that assembled structures seemingly from nothing. News of the alien contact spread worldwide, causing both panic and excitement. Religious groups debated the theological implications, while technology companies saw their stocks soar as investors anticipated new innovations inspired by Keldrick technology. In a classified meeting beneath the Pentagon, Director Miller met with military and scientific leaders. "The Keldricks have made one critical mistake," he told the assembled group. "They've underestimated us." Samantha Wells, lead scientist at the Global Space Initiative, displayed images of the Keldrick ships, captured by Earth's telescopes. "Their technology is centuries beyond ours, but not incomprehensible. We can learn from even passive observation." "How long before they realize their mistake?" asked General Paul Howard. "Let's hope they never do," Miller replied. "Their dismissal of us as a minor threat gives us room to breathe and grow. If they saw our true potential, they might not be so hands-off." Lisa Franklin, newly appointed as liaison to the Keldrick observation post, spoke up. "They see what they expect to see. A disunited planet still fighting among ourselves, barely maintaining a handful of extraterrestrial outposts. They don't see how quickly we adapt or how resourceful humans become when challenged." "Then we maintain that image," President Grant concluded. "We play the role they've assigned us while accelerating our development behind the scenes. We have been given time, perhaps not much but enough if we work together." The group nodded in agreement. Earth would bide its time, learn what it could, and prepare. The Keldrick Empire had cataloged countless species across the stars, but they had never encountered humans before. Perhaps they would come to regret dismissing Earth so easily. As Lisa left the meeting, she glanced up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the aliens watched and waited, confident in their assessment of humanity as a minor, unremarkable species. She smiled slightly at their mistake. 5 years passed since the Keldrick Empire made first contact with Earth. The alien observation outpost on Triton maintained minimal communication with humanity. Every 3 months, a supply ship would arrive, dock briefly, and depart. The aliens seemed content to watch from a distance, occasionally sending automated messages requesting updates on Earth's developmental status. Life on Earth continued with a new normal. The presence of aliens had changed much, yet daily routines remained largely the same. Under the surface, however, humanity worked with quiet determination. Research into quantum communications and advanced propulsion systems accelerated under Dr. Samantha Wells at the Global Space Initiative. "Another breakthrough today," Dr. Wells told Director Miller during their weekly encrypted meeting. She displayed a hologram showing energy output that was 30% more efficient than previous models. "We've nearly doubled our engine efficiency by applying principles observed from Keldrick ship movements." Miller nodded with approval. "All without alerting our observers. Excellent work." At the Lunar Defense Base, Lieutenant Ryan Davis sat at his communications terminal, monitoring deep space frequencies. He was responsible for tracking the regular Keldrick transmissions between their Triton base and whatever distant star systems they called home. The patterns had become predictable over the years. Precise bursts of data sent at exactly the same time every Earth day. Ryan frowned as he checked his equipment again. The scheduled transmission time had passed 30 minutes ago, but nothing had come through. This had never happened before. Command, this is Davis at Communications. The daily Keldric transmission hasn't arrived. Requesting confirmation. His supervisor, Chief Communications Officer Karen Wells, checked her own terminal. Confirmed, Lieutenant. Let's give it a few hours before we alert higher-ups. Could be a technical issue on their end. But the transmission never came. Not that day, nor the next. By the third day of silence, the matter had been escalated to Earth Security Council. Chairwoman Nicole Bennett addressed the emergency session. 3 days without contact may not seem significant, but the Keldrics have maintained perfect communication schedules for 5 years. This sudden silence is concerning. Lisa Franklin, who had spent the last 5 years studying Keldric behavior patterns as their liaison, spoke up. They value precision and consistency above almost all else. This silence is completely out of character. After 3 weeks of total silence, even the observation post on Triton went dark. Its lights, visible through Earth's powerful telescopes, simply shut down one night. No explanation was given. No final message was sent. The Security Council debated their next move. We should send a reconnaissance mission to Triton, suggested General Howard. That outpost might contain valuable information. What if it's a test? Countered Foreign Affairs Director Sandra Garcia. The Keldrics might be watching to see if we violate their territory once they appear to leave. Or what if something has happened to them? Asked Lisa. Something they couldn't warn us about. After much debate, the Council authorized a small reconnaissance mission to Triton. Major Alan Cooper was selected to lead the team of 6 specialists aboard Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, the Pioneer. The journey to Neptune's moon took 14 days. As they approached, the team observed no signs of activity around the alien outpost. No movement, no energy signatures, reported Olivia Russell, the team's sensor specialist. The place looks completely abandoned. Major Cooper made the decision to dock and enter the facility. Full environmental suits. We don't take any unnecessary risks. The team entered through an airlock that opened with surprising ease. Inside, the corridors were dim, lit only by emergency lighting. The air was still breathable, though thin. They left in a hurry, observed Cooper, pointing to various items scattered around what appeared to be a control room. No signs of violence or struggle, but definitely an emergency evacuation. The team split up to search the facility, maintaining constant communication. In what seemed to be a data center, technician Ben Garcia made a discovery. Major, I've found something. Their main computer system is still partially operational. Ben's fingers worked quickly over the alien interface they had studied from a distance for years. I think I can access some of their recent communications. The team gathered around as Ben extracted and translated the data. What they found sent a chill through everyone present. These are distress signals, said Lisa, who had joined the mission as their Keldric expert. Emergency communications from across their empire. Something catastrophic happened in their core worlds about a month ago. The final messages were fragmented but painted a grim picture. References to system-wide failures, corruption spreading, and immediate withdrawal to defensive positions filled the logs. The last complete message was a direct order for all outposts to abandon their positions and return to designated rally points. They left because they were ordered to, said Cooper quietly. Not because of anything we did. Lisa translated more of the data. There are coordinates here, astronomical data pointing to massive energy events in Keldric territory. Whatever happened affected multiple star systems simultaneously. Back on Earth, the long-range observatories confirmed unusual energy signatures from the direction of known Keldric space. The patterns suggested massive-scale warfare or stellar engineering events, thousands of times more powerful than anything humanity could produce. Earth's leaders gathered once more to digest this information. The room was silent as the implications sank in. The Keldric Empire appears to be under attack or experiencing some form of collapse, summarized Chairwoman Bennett. We don't know who or what they're fighting or if they're winning. And we don't know if this conflict will eventually reach us, added Miller. Dr. Wells, who had been analyzing the data from Triton, spoke next. The technology they left behind, in their haste, is invaluable. Already my team has identified several components we can study and potentially reverse engineer. President Kate Daniels, who had maintained a cautious approach to alien technology until now, made a decisive statement. We've been given an unexpected opportunity. With the Keldrics gone, at least temporarily, we're no longer under their observation or restrictions. You're suggesting we accelerate our development programs, said Miller. I'm suggesting more than that, replied the president. I'm proposing we authorize the Phoenix Initiative. The room filled with murmurs. The Phoenix Initiative had been a theoretical contingency plan, developed but never approved due to Keldric restrictions. It outlined a rapid expansion program with the goal of establishing human presence beyond solar boundaries. When the Keldrics return, they'll find a very different humanity than the one they left behind, said the president. We can no longer afford to be a minor threat. Our survival may depend on becoming much more. As the meeting adjourned, Lisa Franklin stood at the observatory window, looking toward the distant stars where the Keldric homeworlds lay. The empire that had seemed so permanent, so overwhelmingly powerful, was now fighting for survival against an unknown enemy. She wondered if Earth would be next, or if humanity's resourcefulness might find a way to navigate the coming storm. 3 months after the discovery of the abandoned Keldric outpost, Earth buzzed with activity. The Phoenix Initiative moved forward at full speed. Labs around the world worked day and night, studying the alien technology left behind on Triton. Leading this effort was Dr. Peter Wright, a quiet genius who had spent years analyzing Keldric technology from a distance. The breakthrough came when we stopped trying to copy their tech and started adapting it to human designs, Dr. Wright explained, to the Phoenix Initiative Oversight Committee. He displayed a hologram of an engine unlike anything humans had built before. We've combined Keldric energy principles with our own approaches to create something new. The committee members leaned forward with interest. President Daniels asked, "Will it work?" Dr. Wright smiled slightly. "It already has in tests. We estimate the ship will be capable of reaching Proxima Centauri in just under 3 weeks." Whispers filled the room. The nearest star system had once been a journey of decades, even with their most advanced theoretical engines. Construction of the experimental vessel took place in secret at the lunar shipyards. Named the Pathfinder, it represented humanity's greatest technological achievement. Sleek and built primarily for speed, it combined Earth materials with reverse-engineered Keldric systems. Commander Eric Johnson was selected to captain the Pathfinder on its historic journey. A veteran of Mars colony supply runs and former test pilot, Eric had a reputation for remaining calm under pressure. "We don't know what we'll find out there," Director Miller told Eric during the final briefing. "The Keldrics may be gone from our system, but something caused their empire to collapse. Your primary mission is exploration and intelligence gathering. Avoid engagement if possible." Eric nodded solemnly. "Understood, sir. We'll be careful." The Pathfinder launched quietly from the far side of the moon, its departure hidden from Earth's civilian population. Only a few thousand people knew of the mission's existence. Lisa Franklin, now promoted to colonel, watched from mission control as the ship activated its experimental drive. A brief flash of light, and suddenly the Pathfinder was moving faster than any human vessel before it. Tracking systems struggled to keep up as it passed Jupiter's orbit in hours rather than months. "Godspeed, Pathfinder," she whispered. The journey to Proxima Centauri was tense but uneventful. The crew of 12 specialists monitored the new systems carefully, collecting valuable data. As they approached their destination, excitement mixed with apprehension. "Dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1, announced the navigation officer, Henry Ward. The view screens activated, showing their first glimpse of another star system up close. Proxima Centauri's red glow illuminated the bridge. Several planets were visible as tiny dots, "We're picking up artificial signals," reported Communications Officer Diane Lewis with surprise. "Multiple sources, primarily from the second planet." Eric straightened in his chair. "The Keldricks mentioned they had outposts throughout nearby systems. Could be automated beacons." "No, sir." Diane shook her head. "These aren't Keldrick frequencies. This is something else entirely." Further investigation revealed that Proxima Centauri II was inhabited by a non-human civilization. Small ships moved between the planet and its moons. None matched Keldrick designs. After careful consideration, Eric made the decision to approach openly. "If they're not Keldricks, they might be willing to talk to us." The Pathfinder broadcasted peaceful intentions on multiple frequencies as it moved closer to the planet. The response came quickly. A flurry of communications followed by 3 ships, approaching their position. "They're hailing us," said Diane. "I think I can translate the basic message. They're asking who we are and where we come from." Eric stood up. "Tell them we're humans from Earth, seeking peaceful contact." The alien vessels escorted the Pathfinder to a space station orbiting the planet. Through a series of careful communications, the humans learned that these beings called themselves the Vexari, a reptilian species with copper-colored scales and 4 eyes. They had been part of the Keldrick Empire's territory but were now effectively independent. Inside the station, Eric and his diplomatic officer Michelle Torres met with the Vexari elders. The aliens were initially suspicious but became more open when they realized humans were not affiliated with the Keldricks. "You are from the world classified as Minor Threat 21 and 87? Asked the lead elder, whose name translated roughly to Stone Voice. "We know of your world from Keldrick records." "We were called a minor threat, yes," confirmed Eric. "We've come because the Keldricks suddenly abandoned their outpost in our system. We want to understand what happened." The Vexari exchanged looks. Stone Voice's scales darkened slightly, which Michelle suspected indicated distress. "The Great Empire has fallen," Stone Voice explained. "A force the Keldricks called the Corruption emerged from the galactic core nearly 1 Earth year ago. It spreads quickly, turning their own technology against them. The Vexari led them to a viewing area where they could see the planet's surface. Cities dotted the landscape, but several areas showed signs of destruction. We were a resource world for the Empire," continued Stone Voice. "When the corruption began spreading, the Keldricks implemented emergency protocols. All their forces withdrew to defend core worlds." Michelle asked carefully, "What exactly is this corruption?" "We do not know its true nature. It appears to take over Keldrick technology and use it against them. Some say it is a weapon created by enemies of the Empire. Others believe it is an ancient intelligence awakened by Keldrick experiments near the galactic core." What the Vexari said next chilled the human delegation. "The Keldricks had plans for worlds they classified as threats," explained Stone Voice. "When the corruption first appeared, they sacrificed many minor threat worlds to slow its advance." "Sacrificed?" Eric asked, though he feared he understood. "The Empire destroyed them. Complete sterilization. They used these worlds as buffer zones to gain time." Stone Voice's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Your world was likely scheduled for similar treatment, but the Empire collapsed too quickly to implement all their containment protocols." Eric and Michelle exchanged horrified glances. Earth had narrowly escaped destruction not through diplomacy or strength, but simply because their would-be destroyers had bigger problems. In the days that followed, the humans learned more about the state of the former Empire. Many worlds were in chaos. Some, like the Vexari, were managing to rebuild independently. Others had fallen into war or disaster without Keldrick support. And always, at the edges of conversation, was the shadow of the corruption, still spreading outward from the core worlds. Before departing, Eric established formal diplomatic relations with the Vexari. Both species had much to gain from alliance. "We were both considered insignificant by the Keldricks," Eric told Stone Voice. "Perhaps together we can prove that was their mistake." As the Pathfinder began its journey home, Eric recorded his report for Earth's leadership. The galaxy had changed dramatically. The mighty empire that had dismissed humanity was collapsing, leaving a power vacuum and a mysterious threat in its wake. For better or worse, Humanity now had its chance to step onto the galactic stage, not as a minor threat, but as a potential power in their own right, if they could avoid the fate that had befallen the Keldricks. The return of the Pathfinder to Earth changed everything. News of the Keldric Empire's collapse and the mysterious corruption spread quickly among Earth's leadership. Within 6 months, humanity had launched 4 more ships based on the Pathfinder design. Outposts were established in the nearest star systems, creating a small but growing sphere of human influence. Admiral Susan Martinez commanded Earth's first defensive fleet from the newly constructed orbital station Unity. Tall and stern, with gray streaking her dark hair, she had spent 30 years in Earth Space Forces before this historic command. "Our primary goal is to establish early warning systems," she told her captains during a strategy meeting. "If this corruption reaches our region of space, we need as much advance notice as possible." The fleet patrolled the edges of human space, mapping abandoned Keldric outposts and occasionally making contact with other species left adrift by the Empire's fall. Most were cautious but willing to trade information and resources. 5 jumps away from Earth in a system with no habitable planets, a science vessel named the Discovery detected an unusual energy signature. "Admiral, we found something," reported Captain Frank Rodriguez. "A damaged Keldric warship drifting in deep space. Life support appears partially functional, but we're detecting no life signs." Martinez considered the risks carefully. "Send a full report. I'm dispatching Dr. Lewis and his team to investigate. This could be our best opportunity yet to understand Keldric military technology." Dr. Gregory Lewis led Earth's foremost team of xenotechnologists. Together with a security detail, they boarded the abandoned Keldric vessel 3 days later. The ship's interior was dark, lit only by emergency lighting and the team's portable lamps. "Something hit them hard," observed Security Chief Laura Peterson as they moved through corridors showing blast damage. "But I don't see any bodies." "The Keldrics may have evacuated their dead," suggested Dr. Lewis, "or something else removed them." The group made their way to the ship's command center. Unlike the observation post on Triton, this was a military vessel with heavily secured systems. Dr. Lewis connected specialized equipment to what appeared to be the main computer terminal. "Most of the systems are encrypted or damaged," he reported. "But there's an isolated memory bank that's still intact, likely contains vessel logs and records." After several hours of careful work, they managed to download the data and return safely to their ship. The Keldric vessel was tagged with a beacon for later salvage. Back on Earth, Dr. Lewis and his team worked day and night to decode and translate the recovered data. What they found shocked them profoundly. "I need to speak with the President and Security Council immediately," Dr. Lewis insisted. "What we've found changes everything we thought we knew about our relationship with the Keldrics." In the secure conference room beneath the new Global Defense Headquarters, Dr. Lewis presented his findings to Earth's leadership. "We've managed to access classified Keldric Imperial records from the warship," he began, "including their original assessment of Earth and humanity." He displayed translated text on the main screen. "The Keldrics didn't classify us as a minor threat because of our technological limitations," Dr. Lewis explained. "They did it because of our psychology." President Daniels leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "According to these records, the Keldrics had been observing Earth for over 3 centuries. They watched our world wars, our Cold Wars, our rapid technological development. They studied our entertainment, our sports, our conflicts." Dr. Lewis displayed more translated text. "Their xenopsychologists were disturbed by several human traits. First, our extreme adaptability. Where most species specialize, humans are generalists who can thrive in almost any environment." He continued. "Second, our capacity for both extreme violence and extreme cooperation under pressure. And third, what they called our weaponization instinct, our tendency to convert almost any technology into a potential weapon." The room was silent as the implications sank in. "There's more," Dr. Lewis said. "The Keldrics have standard protocols for incorporating new species into their empire. But in our case, they made a special classification. We were considered too unpredictable to be given access to certain technologies. Colonel Franklin, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. They were afraid of us, even with their technological superiority. Not immediately afraid, clarified Dr. Lewis, but concerned about our long-term potential. Listen to this passage. He read from the translated text. Human response to extinction-level threats shows a pattern unlike any species previously catalogued. Rather than acceptance or panic, they display rapid innovation and ruthless pragmatism. Models suggest that providing humans with standard technological packages would result in unpredictable and potentially dangerous adaptations within 1 to 2 generations. Director Miller almost smiled. They thought we'd take their technology and turn it against them. Essentially, yes, confirmed Dr. Lewis. They kept us isolated not because we were unimportant, but because they feared what we might become if given the right tools and motivation. Dr. Lewis then displayed information about the corruption. The final entries suggest the Keldrick's downfall began when they discovered unusual technology near the galactic core. Despite warnings from their scientists about its unpredictable nature, Imperial leadership ordered its study and development. They created the corruption? Asked President Daniels. Not intentionally. But yes, it appears they awakened or released something they couldn't control. And ironically, the very standardization that made their empire so efficient became their downfall. Once the corruption learned to interface with one Keldrick system, it could infiltrate them all. Admiral Martinez, who had been listening via secure link, spoke up. This explains why the corruption spreads through their technology so effectively. Their systems are too similar, too predictable, which means our more primitive but diverse technology might actually be an advantage, concluded Dr. Lewis. The corruption was designed to infiltrate advanced standardized systems. Our patchwork of different technologies and operating systems might confuse it. President Daniels stood up, walking slowly around the table as she processed this information. So the mighty Keldrick Empire feared human unpredictability and resourcefulness. They classified us as a minor threat, not to dismiss us but to keep us contained. And now we know why, said Director Miller. The question is, what do we do with this information? We use it, said the President firmly. The Keldricks identified qualities in humanity they found concerning: our adaptability, our creativity in crisis, our ability to repurpose technology in ways its creators never imagined. These aren't weaknesses. They're strengths that might help us survive where the Keldricks failed. As the meeting continued into the night, Earth's leadership began to formulate a plan. The galaxy was changing, old powers falling and new threats emerging. Humanity had been handed an opportunity they never expected, the chance to establish themselves as a significant power in the aftermath of the Keldrick collapse. And perhaps their supposed weaknesses, their messy diversity of approaches, their constant innovation, their refusal to follow established patterns, might be exactly what was needed to face the corruption that had brought down an empire. 2 years after discovering the truth about the Keldrick assessment, Earth had transformed. Humanity now maintained outposts in 12 nearby star systems, traded with 7 alien species, and had built a fleet of 30 interstellar vessels. Each ship incorporated both reverse-engineered Keldrick technology and uniquely human innovations. More importantly, Earth had developed a strategy to face the corruption. The Global Defense Council, with input from Colonel William Foster, had analyzed all available data on the spreading threat. The corruption's primary strength is also its weakness, Colonel Foster explained during the final strategic briefing. It targets and weaponizes standardized technology. The Keldricks used identical systems across their empire, making them vulnerable once the corruption understood their approach. He displayed a map showing the corruption's spread from the galactic core. It had consumed nearly 60% of former Keldrick territory, but its advance had slowed in regions where technology was more diverse. Our plan, Operation Firebreak, uses this weakness against it, Foster continued. Instead of creating a single defensive system, we've developed 12 different approaches. When the corruption adapts to one, we switch to another. Dr. Samantha Wells stepped forward to explain the technical aspects. In the past 2 years, she had led the development of humanity's defense systems. We've created what we call technological antibodies, she said. programs that identify and neutralize corrupted systems. Each operates on different fundamental principles, making them harder to counter simultaneously. President Daniels nodded with approval. And our allies? 6 species have agreed to adopt portions of our strategy, replied Admiral Martinez. The Vexari have been particularly helpful, sharing their knowledge of Keldric systems. Earth's leadership knew this approach wasn't guaranteed to work. The corruption had defeated the mighty Keldric Empire with all its technological advantages. But humanity had something the Keldrics lacked: the ability to think outside established patterns, to improvise and adapt quickly. 3 months later, long-range sensors detected the first signs of the corruption entering human space. It arrived not as ships or visible entities, but as a wave of system failures and communication disruptions. It's reached the Proxima Centauri outpost, reported Communications Officer Dan Phillips from the command center of Earth's defensive flagship Defiance. They're switching to isolation protocols now. Admiral Martinez watched the tactical display as the human outpost disconnected from all external networks, a procedure developed to limit the corruption's spread. Begin the first phase of firebreak. Deploy Countermeasure Team Alpha. The human fleet moved into position around Alpha Centauri, which had been designated as the primary defensive line. Specialized vessels carried the different technological antibodies developed by Dr. Wells and her team. The corruption's approach was visible only through its effects: automated Keldric systems going haywire, power sources fluctuating, and communication networks becoming garbled with nonsensical signals. It's testing our systems, observed Dr. Wells from her position in the science vessel Insight, trying to find a way in. For 3 days, the corruption probed human defenses. When it finally attacked directly, it came in the form of corrupted Keldric warships, once proud vessels of the Empire now moving with erratic, insect-like patterns. All ships, implement Countermeasure Sequence 1, ordered Admiral Martinez. The human fleet activated their first defensive system, designed to disrupt the corruption's control over Keldric technology. It worked, briefly. The corrupted ships faltered, some drifting without power, but within hours the corruption had adapted. Switch to Countermeasure Sequence 2, Martinez commanded calmly. Again, the human defenses worked, and again, the corruption adapted. But each adaptation took time, allowing the human fleet to maintain its position. By the 6th day of battle, Earth had cycled through 8 different countermeasures. The corruption had never encountered a species that changed tactics so quickly, that refused to follow predictable patterns. It's struggling to keep up with our changes, Dr. Wells reported with cautious optimism. Its adaptations are becoming less effective each time. On the 8th day, a new vessel appeared at the edge of the system. A massive Keldric command ship, heavily corrupted but still recognizable. As it approached, it broadcast a message in broken human languages. We are perfection. We are unity. Surrender systems. Join the whole. Admiral Martinez stood on the bridge of the Defiance. So it can talk. Send our response. The message was simple. Humanity declines. We prefer our imperfections. What followed was the fiercest phase of the battle yet. The corrupted command ship launched attacks unlike anything seen before, using Keldric technology in ways even the Keldrics had never imagined. But humanity countered with their own innovations. Weapons and defenses cobbled together from multiple technological traditions, operating on principles too diverse for the corruption to counter simultaneously. In the end, it was not overwhelming firepower that turned the tide, but a virus developed by Dr. Wells' team. A chaotic, constantly evolving program that, once uploaded to the command ship, created such internal confusion that the corruption could no longer maintain control. As the massive ship drifted powerless, Admiral Martinez ordered teams to board and secure it. Among the boarding party was Lisa Franklin, now a senior officer specializing in Keldric technology. In what had once been the command bridge, Lisa made a surprising discovery: a single Keldric survivor, barely alive in a sealed life support pod. It was Senior Commander Zax Torol, the very diplomat who had first contacted Earth and classified humanity as a minor threat. Medical teams stabilized the alien, while linguists worked to re-establish communication. When Zax Toril finally regained consciousness, he was brought to a meeting with Earth's leadership. "You survived," were his first translated words, his forearms moving weakly in what humans now recognized as a gesture of astonishment. "How did minor threat world resist corruption when our greatest systems failed?" President Daniels smiled slightly. "Perhaps your classification system measured the wrong things." Over the following days, as he recovered, Zax Toril learned how humanity had fought the corruption, not with technological superiority but with diversity, adaptability, and unconventional thinking. "Our scientists warned of this," the Keldric admitted. "They said humans possessed unusual psychological traits. They feared your unpredictability." "That unpredictability saved us," said Dr. Wells. "The corruption expects systems to behave logically, to follow established patterns. Humans rarely do what's expected." Zax Toril looked out at Earth through a viewport on the space station where he was recovering. The Empire categorized thousands of species across many generations. "We thought we understood the nature of intelligence and civilization. Yet we never considered that our greatest strength, our standardization and consistency, could become our greatest weakness." In the months that followed, humanity's defensive strategy was shared with other surviving worlds. A new alliance began to form, not built on technological hierarchies as the Keldric Empire had been, but on mutual respect and the sharing of diverse approaches. The corruption's advance slowed and then stopped as it encountered worlds prepared with human-designed defenses. For the first time, it began to lose territory. Earth, once dismissed as a minor threat, had become the center of a new coalition. Humanity's unique traits, the very qualities the Keldrics had feared, were now recognized as valuable assets in a galaxy, learning to appreciate the strength that comes from diversity. As Zax Toril remarked to President Daniels before departing, to help other Keldric survivors, "Perhaps the greatest error in our classification system was assuming that the path to advancement must follow our own. We never considered that being different from us might itself be an advantage." The president smiled. "That's a lesson humanity has been learning throughout our own history. Our greatest strength isn't in being uniformly perfect, it's in being perfectly, unpredictably human."